Okay, it started. So we shove that in there. Maybe get some of these wires out of the way. My Surfski narration. I forgot everything. Number one, I forgot my bike computer. I forgot the stuff I got. I forgot to look up things like the temperature and the tides. Although I checked this morning and the tides are going to be really small change in height. So I don't suspect we're going to see any I don't suspect we're going to see much in the way of tidal current. So it's going to be pretty easy. I think I told you the tide height is a sinusoid. So they have a 50-90 rule, which is just a sinusoidal rule that at high tide and low tide, the slope of a sine wave approaches zero. In other words, it's flat. So the change in height, this is change in height. So tides will be in the first hour, tides will be at 50% speed, and in the second hour, they'll approach 90% of their full speed. In the third hour, they're going flat out. And if you look at the slope of a sine wave, that's what it does. I think I said, the tide height is the difference between a trough and a peak of a sine wave. And if it goes from 8 feet to 6 feet, that's a 2 feet difference. And it's always over the same amount of time. So, 8 feet to -1 foot, that's a 9 foot change. That's going to be a lot faster. And when the moon's directly overhead, it's a bigger change than when the moon's on the other side of the earth. Much bigger change. So the first tide will be fast, but the second one will be slower. And since they're not perfectly synced with the day, they always come at different times. So, like a trough. And there's rules about all this stuff. I mean, they've been studying and learning this crap forever. So the voltage, get more power, but you won't get more loss. So the reason why they crank the voltage is because you get more power, but you get the same loss. Whereas if you crank the current, you get more loss. So through the resistance. So that simple equation is why they do that. You can probably, if you thought about it, you can probably figure it out, I guess. But you think of potential difference is like there's 20 electrons here, 10 over there. Then you would say there's a potential for, they want to balance out. There's potential for 5 of the 20 to migrate over to the 10 so they're equal. So you say they have a potential of, let's say one is 20, the other is 10 volt. That's a 10 volt difference. Or maybe voltage is how hard it pushes, and current is how much of it goes, right? So 50 volts is usually safe for people. It isn't enough of a push to go under your skin. Above 50 volts, like 110 causal current, that's enough to penetrate your skin. So a tiny current going across your heart is the worst thing that can happen, right? So if you touch this and this, and it goes across your arms into your heart, that's bad, right? And of course, getting cooked and stuff. Oh yeah, look at this. This is the boat wake. This is definitely pretty big waves. So, all right, I caught this one. Woo! Look how big these are. This is a freaking boat. Anybody who's ever, done a lake before, like I used to do a finger lake, this is your only chance. Is when a big boat comes by to have decent waves. Yeah, so it's getting kind of weird here. I can't really tell what's going on. What these waves are doing or where they're coming from. He's like, they're pushing me, but as if by magic, I just stop. Yeah, I can't even figure out what's going on now. See, I don't see the opening to this thing. Yeah, let me, I'm not going to do it. It's because it's unknown to me. Let me see if I can turn. So I'll just do a U-turn here. U-turn. Hopefully I won't run aground. Ooh. Okay. There we go. Success.